things. In life, true champions are not defined by comfort, but by how they rise under pressure. Things. Nick Vujicic reminds us that challenges are not obstacles, but opportunities to grow stronger, braver, and more determined. Things. Pressure shapes resilience, and it is in those defining moments that champions thrive, proving that greatness is born in the fire of adversity. Things. Pressure reveals true character because it strips away the masks we wear in ordinary life and forces us to confront who we truly are at our core. Things. When everything is going smoothly, it's easy to appear confident, strong, and composed. Things. Success without struggle can create an illusion that we have mastered life, but the real test comes when pressure mounts. Things. When circumstances are overwhelming and when the weight of challenges begins to crush the surface level of our comfort zone. Under pressure, things, the polished image we project to others begins to crack, and what emerges is the essence of our true self, the raw material of our character. Things. Some people discover inner courage they never knew existed, while others realize that fear, doubt, things, or hesitation has been silently governing their lives. Pressure doesn't create weakness, it exposes it. It doesn't invent courage, it reveals it. It shows us whether our foundation is built on fragile excuses or on unshakable resilience. Things. When champions step into moments of pressure, things. They don't suddenly become extraordinary. They have already built their mindset through persistence, practice, and discipline. Things. Pressure simply brings out what they have been cultivating in the dark. Think of an athlete preparing for a final match. Months of training, things, sacrifice, and discipline lie hidden behind the curtain of practice, and the true test of character comes when the lights are on. Things, the crowd is watching, and the moment to deliver has arrived. Some crumble, some freeze, and some thrive. The same is true in life. Things. In the boardroom, in relationships, in personal struggles, pressure becomes a magnifying glass. It reveals preparation, mindset, and the hidden values we hold deep within. The reality is that most people fear pressure because it feels uncomfortable, unpredictable, things, and even unbearable. Yet, the very moments we avoid are the moments designed to reveal our strength. Diamonds are formed under immense pressure. Things. And human beings are no different. Without pressure, our hidden potential would remain buried beneath convenience and routine. Things. Champions understand this truth. They welcome pressure as a teacher, a refiner, and a mirror that reflects who they truly are. Instead of running from it, things. They lean into it because they know that what is revealed in these moments is priceless insight about their own character. When pressure comes, things, excuses vanish. It becomes clear whether someone is driven by commitment or by comfort. Under pressure, things. The person who claims to want success but hasn't cultivated discipline is revealed. Things. The individual who has spoken of courage but has been avoiding difficult steps is revealed. Pressure does not lie. Things. It strips away the safe narratives we tell ourselves and uncovers whether our faith, resilience, and persistence are genuine or merely aspirational. Things. This is why some people break down under pressure while others break through. Things. The difference lies not in the size of the challenge, but in the depth of the character that is revealed. Things. History has countless examples of pressure exposing true character. Things. Leaders who stand tall in times of crisis demonstrate their integrity and courage. Things. Soldiers in battle reveal not only their bravery, but also their loyalty to something greater than themselves. Things. Entrepreneurs facing financial collapse show whether they are willing to innovate, adapt, and fight for their vision. Things. Or whether fear will drive them to surrender. Pressure is the stage upon which true greatness is displayed because it allows no room for pretense. Things. It is the raw confrontation between what we claim to be and what we actually are. When Nick Vujicic speaks of pressure, things, his own life embodies this truth. Born without limbs, he has faced unthinkable challenges from a young age. The pressure of being different, things, of enduring rejection, of living without the conveniences others take for granted, could have broken him. Yet instead, it revealed something extraordinary, an unshakable spirit, a heart filled with faith, and a determination to inspire millions. His character was not shaped in comfort but revealed in pressure. And his story reminds us that our greatest identity is uncovered in the moments when life feels unbearable. Pressure also reveals the values we truly hold. When everything is easy, it is simple to say we believe in honesty, perseverance, and compassion. But when pressure comes, when telling the truth may cost us, when pushing forward seems impossible, when choosing compassion means sacrificing our own comfort, our actions reveal what we truly value. Pressure peels back the layers of pretense and exposes the reality of who we are and what we stand for. Champions thrive in these moments because they have aligned their values with their actions long before the pressure arrives. They are not pretending under the spotlight. They are living out what has already been proven in the quiet struggles behind the scenes. Another aspect of pressure revealing true character is how it exposes our inner dialogue. The thoughts that dominate our minds in challenging moments reveal whether we nurture faith or fear, hope or despair. Pressure forces us to listen to the voices inside us more clearly because distractions fade away. If our inner world is filled with negativity, doubt and insecurity, pressure will amplify those voices. But if our inner dialogue has been trained in encouragement, resilience, and faith, pressure will amplify those instead. This is why champions spend so much time cultivating a strong mindset. Because they know that when pressure comes, their inner voice will either betray them or empower them. On the journey of life, no one is immune to pressure. Students preparing for crucial exams feel it. Parents striving to raise children with wisdom feel it. Professionals tasked with meeting impossible deadlines feel it. Each of these situations is not merely an inconvenience, it is a revealer of character. The student who caves into pressure and cheats reveals a lack of integrity. The student who perseveres, studies harder, and gives their best reveals resilience and honesty. The parent who cracks under pressure and lashes out reveals unresolved frustration. While the parent who chooses patience and love reveals character built on compassion, pressure never leaves us unchanged. It either exposes weakness or highlights strength. Champions understand that the revelation of true character under pressure is not something to fear, but something to embrace. They see pressure as the chance to discover themselves, to learn where they still need growth, and to prove to themselves and others that they can withstand the storm. Champions do not view pressure as the enemy. They see it as the spotlight that unveils their preparation, their mindset, and their resilience. And in doing so, they separate themselves from the crowd because most people run from these moments while champions run toward them. Champions turn fear into focus because they understand that fear in itself is not the enemy, but rather misplaced energy waiting to be redirected. Fear is a natural human response that arises whenever uncertainty, risk, or challenge confronts us. It quickens the heartbeat, sharpens the senses, and floods the body with adrenaline. For many people, fear becomes paralyzing, creating hesitation and indecision that sabotage opportunities. Yet, for champions, fear is a signal that greatness is near, that they are standing on the edge of growth. Instead of letting fear freeze them, they take that same energy and channel it into sharper concentration, higher performance, and relentless action. Fear becomes fuel. The very force that cripples most people becomes the driving power that pushes champions beyond their limits. Turning fear into focus begins with perception. Ordinary minds view fear as a warning to retreat, a flashing signal to step back into safety. Champions see fear differently. They interpret fear as evidence that they are stepping into meaningful territory. If something causes fear, it usually means it matters. The fear of failing an exam shows the importance of education. The fear of losing in competition shows the value of victory. The fear of rejection in relationships shows the desire for love and belonging. Champions recognize that fear highlights what we care about, and instead of withdrawing, they press forward. Focusing their attention on the task at hand with laser precision. They allow fear to narrow their vision, eliminating distractions, until only the next step matters. This transformation from fear to focus is not automatic. It is cultivated through discipline and mindset. Champions train themselves to remain calm under pressure, to breathe deeply, and to channel nervous energy into preparation. Think of a public speaker who feels fear before stepping on stage. For many, the trembling hands and racing thoughts would result in stumbling words and forgotten lines. But a champion uses that fear to heighten awareness, to lean more attentively into their audience, to emphasize their message with greater passion. The same fear that could have led to disaster becomes the very element that makes the performance unforgettable. Focus sharpens because fear has forced the mind to lock onto what matters most. Athletes provide clear examples of this transformation. In the final seconds of a tied game, when the outcome hangs in the balance, fear could cripple performance. The weight of expectation, the roar of the crowd, the knowledge that millions are watching, all of these can overwhelm the unprepared. Yet the champion does not let fear scatter the mind. Instead, they channel it into complete focus. Every breath, every muscle, every decision becomes aligned with the single goal of execution. The free throw is made, the final sprint is unleashed. The impossible shot is taken and achieved. Fear did not disappear, it was mastered and redirected. This principle extends far beyond sports. Entrepreneurs facing the fear of financial collapse can either panic and give up or focus their minds on creative solutions, innovative strategies, and bold decisions that turn crisis into breakthrough. Students preparing for critical exams can either freeze under pressure or channel fear into focused study sessions, clarity of revision, and mental discipline that results in success. Parents facing the fear of failing their children can either drown in worry or focus on intentional actions, consistent love, and wise guidance. In every arena of life, fear is either wasted energy that destroys potential or redirected energy that fuels extraordinary achievement. The secret behind champions turning fear into focus lies in how they handle their internal dialogue. The mind, when afraid, is filled with countless what ifs. What if I fail? What if I am not good enough? What if they reject me? These thoughts scatter attention and create paralysis. Champions, however, train themselves to replace the what if with what now. Instead of being lost in endless possibilities of failure, they lock into the immediate step they can control. What now? Focus on the breath. What now? Execute the plan. What now? Take the shot. By constantly shifting the mind back to present action, fear loses its grip and transforms into sharpened focus. Biologically, fear and focus are linked through the same mechanisms in the brain. When fear is triggered, the body enters a state of heightened alertness. For most people, this becomes overwhelming. For champions, it is an advantage. Their training has taught them that this heightened state is not a curse, but a gift. The increased adrenaline sharpens reflexes. The heightened awareness makes details clearer. The surge of energy increases endurance. By embracing the biological effects of fear and channeling them into intentional action, champions gain an edge that others squander. Nick Vujicic himself embodies this truth, facing countless fears throughout his life. The fear of rejection, the fear of loneliness, things. The fear of living without the abilities others take for granted. He did not let these fears consume him. Instead, he transformed them into focus. Things. Focus on his purpose, focus on his message, focus on inspiring others who face their own battles. Things. The same fears that could have silenced him became the fire that sharpened his mission. His story is proof that fear does not have to end in defeat. Things. It can be the birthplace of courage and determination when it is channeled correctly. Things. Turning fear into focus also requires champions to embrace discomfort. Fear thrives in the unknown, and the unknown always feels uncomfortable. Things. But champions deliberately place themselves in situations where fear is present because they know that discomfort breeds growth. Things a speaker practices on bigger stages, a runner trains in harsher conditions, a leader makes harder decisions. Each time fear is present, things, but instead of resisting it, champions use it as a tool to push themselves deeper into concentration. Things. Focus becomes sharper because fear demands attention, and champions leverage that demand to lock onto their purpose. Things. Consider how soldiers in combat situations deal with fear. In the heat of battle, fear is unavoidable. Things. But those who have trained to harness it do not allow panic to scatter their minds. Instead, they focus on their mission, their comrades. Things. They're training every sound, every movement, every signal becomes crucial. Fear is no longer paralyzing. Things. It becomes the force that heightens awareness and sharpens focus. Champions of all fields adopt this same mindset, whether in battlefields, things, sports fields, or personal struggles. They take fear's intensity and turn it into clarity. Things. The transformation of fear into focus also reshapes identity. Ordinary individuals see fear as weakness. Things. But champions see it as an opportunity to redefine themselves. Each time they harness fear, they expand their belief in what they are capable of. Things. The memory of past victories over fear fuels confidence for future challenges. Slowly, things. Fear becomes less of a threat and more of a signal, an indicator that they are on the path of growth, that they are moving in the right direction. Things. Champions thrive on this process because every fear conquered expands their capacity to focus even more deeply the next time. Things. Fear is also an equalizer. It does not discriminate between the successful and the struggling. Everyone feels it. Leaders, athletes, artists. Things. Parents, students. The difference lies in response. While most allow fear to scatter their focus, champions seize it as a gift. Things. They know that fear means the stakes are high, and when the stakes are high, focus must be sharper. Champions are not fearless, they are focused. Things. They still feel the nerves, the shaking hands, the racing pulse. The difference is they do not allow these sensations to dictate retreat. Instead, things. They lean in, sharpen their awareness, and give everything they have to the task at hand. When fear arises, things, champions also use rituals to transform it into focus. They visualize success, breathe with intention, repeat affirmations, things, or engage in physical warm-ups that ground their energy. These rituals act as channels, guiding the raw power of fear into targeted concentration. Things. The untrained mind sees fear as chaos, but the trained champion sees it as raw energy waiting to be directed. Through repetition, things, these rituals become automatic, ensuring that whenever fear appears, focus follows. Ultimately, things. The power of champions lies not in escaping fear, but in converting it. Fear is inevitable, but paralysis is optional. Things. Champions recognize that focus is a choice. In every fearful moment, they choose to focus on the goal, the mission, the purpose, and the next step. Things. They transform fear from a stumbling block into a stepping stone, from a barrier into a bridge, from an enemy into an ally. Things. Adversity builds resilience because every challenge, setback, and hardship forces the human spirit to grow stronger than it was before. Things. Life is not a straight path of victories and comfort. It is a journey filled with obstacles that test resolve, faith, and determination. Things. When adversity strikes, it often arrives uninvited and unwanted, shaking the foundation of what we thought was secure. things. Yet within those difficult seasons lies the hidden gift of resilience. Resilience is not born out of ease, it is forged in struggle. Things. Just as muscles grow stronger when torn and repaired, the spirit becomes unbreakable when it endures trials and learns to rise again. Things. Without adversity, resilience would remain undeveloped, a dormant potential that never has the chance to be awakened. Things. Champions recognize this truth and welcome challenges not because they enjoy pain, things, but because they understand that strength only comes when adversity has been endured. Things. Adversity reveals the gap between who we are and who we can become. In comfort, people remain stagnant. Things. Repeating the same routines and expecting growth without effort. Adversity disrupts that comfort and forces the mind and body into new territory. Things. When someone loses a job, they are forced to innovate and discover talents they never knew they had. When illness strikes, things, they are forced to develop patience, gratitude, and determination. When relationships break, they are forced to discover independence, healing, things, self-worth. Each of these adversities feels unbearable in the moment, but over time, things, they build a resilience that no easy season could have created. Things. Champions thrive in the knowledge that every setback is an opportunity to construct an inner strength that cannot be taken away. Things. Resilience is not merely surviving adversity, but transforming through it. The resilient individual does not come out of hardship unchanged. Things, they emerge refined, wiser, and stronger. Things. History is filled with examples of people who turned unimaginable adversity into resilience that inspired generations. Things. Nelson Mandela endured years of imprisonment, and through that adversity, his resilience became a global force for justice. Helen Keller, things, who faced the double adversity of blindness and deafness, developed resilience so profound that she became a voice of empowerment for millions. Things. Nick Vujicic, born without limbs, turned adversity into a platform of inspiration. Things, proving that resilience built in suffering can touch lives worldwide. Their resilience was not handed to them. Things. It was built brick by brick through adversity that many would consider unbearable. When adversity strikes, it forces a choice. Things. Either to surrender or to rise. Those who surrender become bitter, paralyzed, and defeated. Things. While those who rise develop resilience that reshapes their identity. Things. Champions understand that adversity is not an obstacle to avoid, but a teacher to embrace. Every failure teaches persistence. Things. Every rejection teaches humility. Every pain teaches endurance. Things. The resilient spirit is not built overnight, but through repeated confrontations with hardship where surrender is resisted and growth is embraced. Things. Over time, resilience becomes second nature, a reflex that kicks in whenever life throws unexpected storms. Things. Adversity also builds resilience by strengthening perspective. When someone has endured deep struggles, they learn to see life differently. Things. Minor inconveniences no longer shake them because they have faced greater battles. Things. Disappointments that once felt overwhelming now seem small compared to what they have already survived. Things. Champions who have walked through adversity carry a perspective that shields them from being easily broken again. Things. Their resilience lies not only in strength, but in the ability to see beyond the immediate hardship and believe in the possibility of future victory. Things. Resilience is also built because adversity tests commitment. Many people claim to want success, happiness, or growth. Things. But adversity reveals whether those desires are shallow wishes or deep commitments. When the journey becomes hard, when failure feels constant, things, only the truly committed continue. That persistence builds resilience with every step. Things. Champions are not necessarily the most talented or the most fortunate. Things. But they are the most resilient because they refuse to stop when adversity hit hardest. Things. Each refusal to quit layers resilience into their character, creating a foundation that cannot be destroyed. Things. The process of building resilience through adversity often feels invisible at first. In the moment of suffering, it seems pointless, even cruel. things. Yet when time passes and the storm clears, people look back and realize how much stronger they have become. The sleepless nights, the tears, things, the uncertainty, all of it carved depth and toughness into their spirit. Things champions reflect on past adversities and recognize them as the very moments that built their resilience. The pain was temporary, things, but the strength became permanent. Without those battles, the resilience that defines them today would never have existed. Things. Adversity also builds resilience through the development of problem-solving skills. When circumstances collapse and the familiar path is blocked, things, the resilient spirit learns to create new paths. Adversity forces creativity, innovation, and adaptability. Things. Champions become resourceful because adversity has demanded it. They learn to think differently, to persist when answers are not obvious. Things, and to craft solutions where others see only obstacles. Each challenge faced strengthens their ability to handle the next one. Things, expanding their resilience into practical skills that help them navigate future storms with greater confidence. Adversity humbles the human spirit. Things, and humility is a crucial component of resilience. In struggle, people are reminded that they are not invincible. Things, that they cannot control everything and that they need others. This humility opens the door to resilience because it teaches the value of patience. Things, reliance on community and dependence on faith. Things, champions are resilient not only because they are strong, but because they are humble enough to learn to adapt. Things, and to lean on others when necessary. Adversity strips away arrogance and builds resilience grounded in humility. For Nick Vujicic, adversity was not occasional, it was constant. From the earliest moments of life, he faced challenges that most people cannot imagine. Things, every simple action became a test, every interaction a potential wound. Yet through these adversities, things, he built resilience that defines his story today. Without adversity, his resilience would not exist, and without his resilience, things, his message would not carry the same weight. Things, his life stands as a living testimony that adversity is not the end, but the soil in which resilience grows. Things. Adversity also builds resilience through repetition. The first storm always feels unbearable. Things, but each subsequent storm feels more manageable because resilience has grown. A child learning to walk falls many times. Things, but each fall builds resilience until walking becomes natural. An entrepreneur may fail in multiple ventures. Things, but each failure builds resilience until success is finally achieved. Champions know that every fall is training, every setback is strengthening. Things, every hardship is building the resilience needed for greater battles ahead. Things, another way adversity builds resilience is by forcing people to confront fear and uncertainty head on. When life is uncertain, things, the mind wants to retreat to safety, but adversity offers no escape. In those moments, things, resilience is built as individuals learn to operate even in the face of fear. Things, the ability to move forward despite not knowing the outcome becomes a hallmark of resilient people. Things, champions carry this quality with them into every arena of life. Things, stepping into uncertainty with confidence because they know resilience has been forged through past adversities. Things, adversity also strengthens emotional resilience. Hardship exposes the deepest vulnerabilities, grief, loss, disappointment, betrayal, and forces the heart to expand its capacity to endure. Things, emotional resilience is not numbness, but the ability to feel deeply and still keep moving forward. Things, champions are resilient because they have allowed adversity to expand their emotional strength rather than collapse it. They carry scars, things, but those scars become symbols of survival and sources of strength. Ultimately, things, adversity builds resilience by proving that survival is possible even in the darkest seasons. Every time someone comes through a trial, things, they carry evidence within themselves that they can endure again. Each survival story becomes a reservoir of strength for the future. Things, champions draw on these memories, reminding themselves of past victories when new storms arrive. Things, Adversity becomes not just a past teacher, but a continuing source of resilience, providing confidence that no matter how fierce the battle, they can rise again. Pressure fuels innovation because it forces the mind and spirit to move beyond the boundaries of comfort and habit. When circumstances tighten, when options shrink, and when time runs short, the human brain begins to function differently. It sheds laziness, it discards distraction, and it begins searching for answers with heightened urgency. Pressure becomes the catalyst that awakens dormant creativity. Because in the absence of pressure, people often choose convenience over invention. Comfort breeds repetition, but pressure demands reinvention. Champions understand this principle instinctively. They know that when the stakes are high and the margin for error is slim, the mind is capable of producing breakthroughs that would never have surfaced in easier conditions. Innovation is not merely born from imagination. It is ignited when pressure demands solutions that cannot be postponed. When resources are abundant and circumstances are easy, there is little drive to innovate. People rely on what is familiar because it works well enough. But when resources are scarce, when obstacles loom, and when outcomes depend on immediate solutions, pressure transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. History is filled with examples of innovation born out of desperate situations. During wars, nations under pressure created technologies and strategies that later changed civilian life. During financial collapses, entrepreneurs under pressure developed new business models that redefined industries. During health crises, scientists working under pressure discovered treatments that saved millions of lives. These innovations were not the products of leisurely brainstorming. They were born in the furnace of pressure where survival or progress depended on finding a way forward. Champions thrive in pressure-driven innovation because they do not fear the discomfort of being pushed. They welcome it because they know it will unlock abilities hidden within them. Pressure forces them to approach problems from new angles, to strip away assumptions and to experiment with solutions that once felt too risky. When a champion athlete faces a stronger opponent, pressure forces them to adjust their strategy, sharpen their technique, and dig into reserves of skill they might not have used otherwise. When an entrepreneur faces a collapsing market, pressure forces them to reimagine their product, to refine their vision, and to discover opportunities that others overlook. Pressure is the invisible hand that pushes champions to innovate when others stagnate. Innovation under pressure also comes from the sharpening of focus. When life is comfortable, distractions abound. The mind wanders because it can afford to, but when pressure mounts, the mind zeroes in. Own important details fade away and attention is fixed on solving the problem at hand. This concentrated focus often uncovers creative solutions because the mind is working at its highest intensity. Pressure sharpens clarity, and clarity reveals possibilities that previously went unnoticed. Champions harness this sharpened clarity and use it to innovate in moments that demand more than ordinary effort. The human brain itself responds uniquely to pressure. Neuroscience shows that the stress of deadlines or challenges triggers certain chemicals that heighten alertness and cognitive function. For the untrained, this can lead to anxiety and paralysis, but for champions, it becomes fuel. They have trained their minds to operate under these conditions, using the heightened state to access deeper creativity and problem solving. Pressure becomes not a limitation, but a stimulant, awakening cognitive and emotional resources that remain dormant in easy times. Nick Vujicic embodies how pressure fuels innovation on a personal level. Living without limbs, every aspect of his life required innovation. Pressure forced him to find ways to eat, dress, and move differently. It demanded solutions that others would never need to consider. Instead of letting the pressure of his circumstances crush him, he allowed it to inspire innovation in the way he approached life. Things. His methods of adapting are not only functional for himself, but inspirational for others. Things, proving that pressure can force the human spirit to think beyond the obvious and create new paths where none seem to exist. Things. Innovation also emerges under pressure because it strips away the option of quitting. When the stakes are high, surrender is not an option. Things. And the only path forward is to create something new. Champions understand that desperation can be one of the most powerful motivators. Things. A person who has no alternative but to succeed will often innovate in ways that those with safer options never attempt. Things. Pressure eliminates complacency, and in doing so, it unlocks the daring spirit of innovation. Things. Many of the world's greatest inventions were created by individuals who faced immense personal or societal pressure. Things. And their resilience under those conditions turned into breakthroughs that shaped the future. Pressure also fuels collaboration. Things, which becomes a form of innovation. When individuals or teams are under pressure, they are forced to pool their talents, perspectives, things, and strengths to find solutions. The urgency of pressure often tears down walls of ego and competition. Things, creating environments where true collaboration thrives. Champions know how to channel pressure into teamwork. Things, where each person contributes their creativity toward a shared breakthrough. Innovation in such moments is not just individual but collective. Things, and the results are often more powerful because they merge diverse strengths into a single solution. In sports, things. Pressure has consistently fueled innovation in strategy and performance. Teams under pressure from stronger opponents invent new plays, things, new formations, and new tactics that change the entire game. Things. Coaches under pressure from losing streaks create systems that revolutionize their sports. Things. Athletes under pressure from personal limitations develop training techniques that enhance not only their performance but also inspire future generations. Things. Pressure does not merely test champions, it transforms them into innovators whose contributions reshape their fields. In business, things. Pressure has repeatedly fueled innovation that defines entire industries. Things. Companies facing bankruptcy have reinvented themselves through bold strategies. Things. Startups under pressure to compete with larger corporations have created disruptive technologies that change the global economy. Things. Entrepreneurs who felt the crushing weight of risk and failure have birthed innovations that flourished under that very pressure. Things. Champions in business understand that pressure is not something to avoid, but something to harness. Thing, because within it lies the seed of creativity, can redefine the future. Things. Pressure also pushes individuals to embrace risk they would otherwise avoid in normal circumstances. Things. Fear of failure prevents many from attempting bold ideas, but under pressure, the fear of standing still becomes greater than the fear of failure. Things. Champions use this shift to step into risks that lead to innovation. Things. The fear of losing compels them to attempt moves that others would never consider, and those very risks often lead to breakthroughs. Things. Pressure recalibrates the cost in action versus inaction, and champions seize that recalibration to drive innovation in moments of crisis. Things. Innovation under pressure often takes the form of resilience-driven creativity. Things. People who are pressed to the limits of their resources find unconventional ways to stretch what they have. Things. Families under financial pressure create new systems of budgeting and resourcefulness. Things. Communities under pressure from disaster develop support networks and survival strategies. Things. Individuals under pressure from personal limitations develop creative methods of adaptation. Things. These innovations may not always look grand on the surface, but they reflect the same principle. Things. Pressure has a way of forcing the human spirit into inventive solutions that would never surface in times of ease. Things. Champions recognize that pressure is temporary, but the innovations born from it can last forever. Things. A single idea created under immense pressure can ripple across generations. things. A method discovered in desperation can become a foundation for long-term success. Champions lean into pressure with this perspective. Things, knowing that the creative solutions they uncover will not only help them survive the moment, but also shape the path for future victories. Things. Pressure is not the end of possibility, but the beginning of it, because when the mind is squeezed hardest, things. It produces the gems of innovation that transform both the individual and the world around them.